Garibaldi Lake. Just the name itself conjures images of raw, untamed beauty, a true wilderness gem nestled high in the coast mountains of British Columbia, Canada. I'd heard the tales, seen the breathtaking photographs, and felt an undeniable pull to experience it for myself. But timing, as with any expedition into the wild, is absolutely crucial. I decided to make my solo journey in late May. This specific period, a delicate transition between the heavy snows of winter and the bustling throngs of summer adventurers, promised a unique experience. It was a chance to witness an alpine awakening, a landscape stirring from its slumber, still bearing the icy breath of the colder months, yet hinting at the vibrant life to come. This was my opportunity for a true connection, before the trails became highways. The primary motivation for choosing late spring, beyond the sheer aesthetic appeal of a thawing wilderness, was the prospect of solitude. I yearned for that profound quiet that only truly remote places can offer, a silence broken not by human chatter, but by the subtle sounds of nature itself. The popular summer months see Garibaldi Lake transform into a bustling hub, a fantastic experience in its own right, but not what I was seeking on this particular occasion. I was after something more introspective, a chance to immerse myself fully, to feel the pulse of the mountains without distraction. This late spring reset, as I began to call it in my mind, was about stripping back the noise and finding a deeper resonance with the natural world. This part of British Columbia is renowned for its dramatic landscapes, a testament to volcanic origins and glacial artistry. Garibaldi Provincial Park, where the lake resides, is a vast expanse of towering peaks, ancient forests, and iridescent waters. The lake itself, Garibaldi, is the stunning centerpiece, a body of water so vividly turquoise it seems almost unreal. Fed by glaciers, its color is a result of glacial flour, fine rock particles suspended in the water reflecting the sunlight. The prospect of seeing this marvel, perhaps still partially clad in its winter ice, was an irresistible draw, a powerful magnet pulling me towards the mountains for an adventure I knew would be unforgettable. So, with my backpack meticulously packed and a sense of keen anticipation bubbling within me, I set off. The idea was simple, an overnight solo trip. Just me, my gear, and the grandeur of Garibaldi. The goal wasn't to conquer a formidable peak or push my physical limits to the extreme, though any mountain journey carries its inherent challenges. Instead, it was about immersion, observation, and a personal recalibration. To stand on the shores of that alpine lake, to breathe the crisp mountain air, and to witness the slow, majestic dance of nature as winter reluctantly gave way to spring. That was the true objective of this expedition. The journey to Garibaldi Lake begins with a steady 9-kilometer climb. It's a proper hike, one that demands respect and a good pair of boots, but the rewards are more than worth the effort. Setting off in the cool morning air, the trail was surprisingly quiet. This was exactly what I had hoped for by choosing late spring. I encountered only a handful of other hikers, each of us exchanging knowing nods, a silent acknowledgement of the shared privilege of being in such a place at such a time. The lower sections of the trail wound their way through a magnificent forest, ancient cedars and Douglas firs towering overhead, their canopy filtering the sunlight into a soft, ethereal glow. The air was rich with the scent of damp earth and pine. As I gained elevation, the character of the forest began to subtly change. The trees became more sparse, and patches of snow started to appear alongside the trail, remnants of the winter's deep blanket. The path, well-maintained yet undeniably rugged, presented a good physical challenge, my lungs working, my legs finding their rhythm. With each switchback conquered, the views became increasingly more expansive, offering tantalizing glimpses of the surrounding peaks through breaks in the trees. There's a unique satisfaction in this kind of ascent, a feeling of earning the landscape that unfolds before you, step by deliberate step. The relative solitude amplified every sound, the chirping of unseen birds, the rustle of a small creature in the undergrowth, the whisper of the wind through the branches. The final push towards the lake was exhilarating. The air grew crisper, and the snow became more prevalent, crunching satisfyingly underfoot. Then, through a clearing in the trees, I caught my first glimpse of Garibaldi Lake. It was breathtaking. Just as I had hoped, the lake was still half covered in a vast sheet of thick crystalline ice, a stark white expanse against the impossibly blue, open water near the shoreline. The surrounding mountains, their formidable slopes still generously dusted with snow, rose majestically, their reflections shimmering in the clear, unfrozen sections of the lake. It was a scene of profound, almost primal beauty, a world caught between seasons. Finding a suitable spot for my tent was surprisingly straightforward. Near the designated camping area, much of which was still under a layer of snow, I located a relatively flat, dry patch between a cluster of hardy alpine trees, offering a little shelter and a magnificent view. The silence here was different from the forest below. It was more profound, punctuated only by the occasional creak and groan of the shifting ice on the lake, or the distant rumble of water cracking and flowing beneath its frozen surface. It was the sound of a giant slowly awakening, a powerful reminder of the immense natural forces at play in this incredible environment. I felt a deep sense of peace settle over me, the exertions of the hike already fading into a warm glow of accomplishment. For a solo overnight trip like this, especially in the shoulder season where conditions can be unpredictable, having the right gear is paramount. My philosophy is always lightweight but reliable. My shelter for the night was an ultralight, one-person tent, quick to pitch and robust enough to handle any unexpected mountain weather. My sleeping system consisted of a high-quality insulated sleeping pad and a warm-down sleeping bag, crucial for staying comfortable as the temperatures inevitably dipped after sunset. For clothing, I relied on a layering system, a merino wool base layer to wick away moisture, a comfortable mid-layer fleece pullover for insulation, and a breathable soft-shell outer layer to protect against wind and light precipitation. Every item was chosen for its efficiency and minimal weight. With my temporary home established, my thoughts turned to sustenance and warmth. My compact stove system, a marvel of engineering, was fired up in no time. For water, I used a compact hydration filter, drawing directly from a clear, fast-flowing stream of snowmelt near the campsite. There's something incredibly satisfying about sourcing your own water in the wild, and the taste is unparalleled, pure, cold, and invigorating. My evening meal was a simple affair, a freeze-dried pouch of hearty stew. While some might scoff, modern freeze-dried meals are surprisingly tasty and provide the essential calories and nutrients needed after a long hike. Plus, the convenience is unbeatable when you're trying to keep your pack light. As I prepared my dinner, the sun began its slow descent, painting the sky in hues of orange, pink, and purple. The light caught the glaciers on the surrounding peaks, making them glow with an almost ethereal luminescence. The Sphinx Glacier and the Guard Mountain Massif stood like silent sentinels, their icy faces reflecting the day's last light. I sat on a smooth rock near the lake's edge, sipping a hot cup of tea brewed with freshly melted snow in my trusty titanium pot, and simply absorbed the spectacle. The only sounds were the gentle lapping of water against the thinning ice and the occasional distant sigh of the wind. It was a moment of profound solitude, yet I didn't feel lonely. I felt an incredible connection to the vastness surrounding me. The scale of the landscape was humbling. Towering mountains, a vast, partially frozen lake, and the immense silence created a powerful sense of perspective. Worries and stresses from the everyday world seemed to shrink, dwarfed by the sheer majesty of nature. As darkness fully enveloped the valley, the stars began to emerge, astonishingly bright and numerous in the clear mountain air, free from the light pollution of the city. I retreated to my tent, cozy in my sleeping bag, feeling a deep sense of contentment and gratitude for being able to witness such raw, unspoiled beauty. The gentle sounds of the lake and the wind were my lullaby as I drifted off to sleep. Waking up in the mountains is always a special experience, but waking up beside Garibaldi Lake as late spring dawn broke was truly magical. I unzipped my tent to a world bathed in the soft pre-dawn light. The air was crisp and cold, invigorating every sense. Across the lake, the first rays of sun were beginning to kiss the highest peaks, turning their snowy crowns a brilliant, glowing pink. The ice on the lake seemed to shimmer, and the open water reflected the nascent colors of the sky perfectly. There was an incredible stillness, a sacred hush that only comes at the very beginning of a new day in a place so far removed from human clamor. It felt like I had the entire world to myself. My morning ritual began with firing up the stove again, this time to brew a strong, hot coffee in my titanium pot. The aroma alone was a comfort, cutting through the chill morning air. As the water heated, I took out my trail journal and a pen. Sitting there, wrapped in my fleece, watching the sunrise unfurl its spectacular display over the glacier-clad mountains, I began to write. I tried to capture the feelings, the sights, the sounds, the profound sense of peace, the awe inspired by the landscape, the subtle details of the light changing on the ice. It wasn't about crafting perfect prose, but about etching the memory, creating a tangible reminder of this extraordinary experience. The silence was gradually broken by the sounds of the awakening day, the distant call of a bird, the gentle dripping of melting snow, the continued subtle groans and cracks from the lake ice as it responded to the sun's growing warmth. Each sound was a note in nature's symphony, a reminder of the constant, subtle processes at play. The experience was characterized by this immense silence, but also by the sheer scale of everything around me. It made me feel small, yet simultaneously deeply connected to something vast and ancient. There was also an undeniable sense of accomplishment, not just from the hike, but from successfully and comfortably spending a night alone in this wild, alpine environment. This trip to Garibaldi Lake was in every sense the late spring reset I had craved. The solitude, the physical exertion, the breathtaking beauty. It all combined to clear my mind and rejuvenate my spirit. Spending time immersed in nature, even for a short period, has an incredible power to recalibrate your perspective. It reminds you of what's truly important, stripping away the non-essential. As I packed up my camp, leaving no trace of my presence, I felt a renewed sense of energy and clarity. The mountains had offered their quiet wisdom, and I left feeling lighter, more grounded, and deeply grateful for the profound, restorative power of the wild.